There were two fifth-grade boys having a discussion about religion. One was Protestant, the other was Catholic. Now, of course, discussion might be a loosely used term because they were more arguing about the pros and cons of each other's faith. At one point, the Protestant boy, with a tone of disdain, says, "Yeah, but your priest wears pink vestments." The Catholic boy retorted, "It's not pink, it's rose, because Jesus rose from the dead." Well, this is one of the 2 times a year where we do have the rose vestments, and it's Gaudete Sunday, and we rejoice. Advent is half past, and we are but 2 weeks from Christmas. Well, now, Gaudete may, some people, stir a happy anticipation. For others, it may enhance anxiety. I've got only 2 more weeks to get all this stuff done before Christmas. You know, the proper understanding of the first Sunday event of Advent is New Year's Day in our liturgical cycle. It is when we should make our New Year's resolutions. Season of Advent and Lent are both outstanding opportunities to reevaluate and renew. You know, I remember even as a child, I wanted to be a saint. However, the more I read the lives of the saints, the more I was intimidated because some of the sacrifices they had made along the way. I was far from ready to commit myself to the will of God to that extent. I was very comfortable straddling the fence and not fully entrusting myself to God. It took a long time from when I could first say the words, "Jesus, I trust in you," where I could say it with any degree of conviction. And even now, I have to wrestle with that on a regular basis so not to fall into complacency. Not uncommonly, in past days, when I entered Advent with expectations, set goals for myself, I'd get to Gaudete Sunday and lament that I had not seemed to make much progress. And then again, as a child, I remember the poor handmaids, the sisters at St. Boniface when I was a kid. They rhetorically posed the question, what are you going to bring the Christ child at Christmas? Too many times as an adult I'd have to say, well, not much. Now, do you remember last week? It's not a test, but do you remember last week your Father Mike talking about reconciliation and striving? We do not want to go through Advent without striving to improve spiritually, without at least something to give the Christ child. I remember, too, as a child, we would receive the Sears and Montgomery Ward catalogs at the end of October. Well, I don't recall much about my other siblings, but my brothers Dave, Ed, and I, we'd grab those things, we'd sit down and we'd page through those repeatedly, make out our Christmas lists, and to the extent that by the time December rolled around, those things were pretty dog-eared and torn. Now, with 13 kids in the family, well, our lists were extravagantly long. And Mom, of course, edited them to fit the budget. Nevertheless, we could hardly wait till Christmas got here to see what we got. Well, our second reading from today from the book of James, I kind of like James, by the way, emphasize patience. Patience is a quality which emanates from the virtue of hope. We know the Messiah came. That's what we're commemorating at Christmas, that Jesus came to us. And we can renew our allegiance to him. And he has gone before us to prepare a place for us and will come again for us individually and then at the end of time. I have found myself hopefully praying, Lord, when you come again and cast your nets, judge me to be a keeper. Well, Advent commemorates all three comings of the Lord. And there is still time to strive for real spiritual renewal for Christ's coming. For instance, our parish reconciliation service is Monday, December 19th at 6 o'clock. Be here. Finally, I want to discuss a word with you that you may or may not have heard before. It's the word recidivism. Isn't that a great word? I call it a $20 word. But in the legal profession, it refers to a repeat offender. Many Catholics would likely confess that they're a bit of repeat offenders. It's the sin we're most commonly guilty of and struggle to overcome. You know, there is a danger that we may become impatient, frustrated, and quit trying. You know, I've had a related conversation with my spiritual advisor, as there are one or two faults that I repeatedly take to reconciliation. He advised me that it may sometimes take a lifetime to overcome a sinful inclination, and to not be discouraged, and to be patient. That any of us recognizes a fault and seeks to overcome it is a grace. The best aids in that struggle are regular reconciliation, prayer, the Mass, and Holy Communion. He said it is also a grace to not be content in one's sin and the desire to overcome it. Patient striving is the answer. Which causes me to remember a saying: a saint is not one who never falls off the horse, but is one who's always willing to get back on and keep trying. So rejoice and keep patiently striving in Christ.